This is John. John is a 26-year-old and has lived in a small town in northern Ontario since he was born. He speaks English. Since this is John's only language, John is considered a monolingual speaker. This is Noelle. Noelle is 28 years old and was born and raised in Ottawa. She speaks fluent French and English. Because she is equally proficient at both languages, she is considered to be a balanced bilingual.
On the surface, they may not look all that different, but cognitively, they exhibit some striking differences.
You may have heard that bilingual individuals have some sort of advantage, whether that they are more protected from the effects of dementia than monolingual speakers, or are better at multitasking. Researchers have long been interested in what makes bilinguals and monolinguals different.
Today, we will explore the cognitive processes at work behind language processing in both monolingual and bilingual speakers. More specifically, we will examine how performance on linguistic tasks involving conflict monitoring and cognitive control may reveal these crucial differences.
To begin with, let's start off with some basic definitions as given in the article The Effects of Bilingualism on Conflict Monitoring, Cognitive Control, and Garden Path Recovery by Susan E. Teubner-Rhodes and colleagues.
Conflict monitoring is the ability to detect information conflict and reactively increase cognitive control recruitment.
Cognitive control, on the other hand, is a subcomponent of conflict monitoring and is defined as the ability to regulate mental activity to resolve information conflicts during processing.
In other words, conflict monitoring is our ability to detect conflicting information in a linguistic signal and then activate cognitive control, which is in charge of regulating mental processes in order to resolve this conflict.
Such conflicting information may be observed in tasks which include lures or other distracting information, as well as in sentences exhibiting temporary ambiguity.
This article aims to include tasks which recruit common cognitive control methods. In this case, researchers use recognition memory tasks as well as sentence parsing tasks. Some of these methods may be familiar based upon the material we have covered in class.
The first task, the and-back task, was comprised of two conditions, no and high conflict. In the no conflict task, noun and adjective stimuli were presented one by one. Participants were required to say whether or not a current stimulus was a match to one which had been presented 3 trials previously. In this condition, all the words between the targets were non-target words which had not appeared previously.
In high conflict tasks, on the other hand, lure items which had been presented previously were included between the targets. As such, this condition requires participants to look past the familiarity they may experience towards certain lure items so as to correctly identify them as non-matches.
The article predicted that bilinguals like Noelle would outperform their monolingual counterparts on both tasks. Why? Because bilingual individuals have an advantage when it comes to conflict monitoring. It's often said that for balanced bilinguals like Noelle, a consistent management of 2 languages leads to cognitive flexibility.
Throughout the life of a bilingual speaker, frequent switching between languages is said to contribute to the so-called bilingual advantage. Their improved conflict monitoring abilities, as well as their ability to inhibit conflicting information, are gained from a lifetime of dual language use.
Monolinguals like John, on the other hand, do not have the same sort of omnipresent language conflict in their minds. Unlike Noelle, John doesn't have to worry about who he's speaking to and which language he should use.
Overall, then, it seems that Noelle might have better conflict monitoring skills, which have developed as a result of her frequent and consistent use of 2 languages throughout her life. Results of the study do indeed support this hypothesis, at least to an extent. Let's explain. Bilingual speakers had greater accuracy and faster response times on the high conflict and-back task than compared to monolinguals. However, both monolinguals and bilinguals perform similarly on the non-conflict version of the and-back test. Why might this be?
Created using Part1.